This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Engel for TGI Sports Talk right here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. How are you today? It's a crisp, cool fall Friday morning here in East Greenbush, New York. You know we are the first streaming live streaming webcast here from East Greenbush, and we love to hang our hat on that. So I hope you guys are doing well. Big week in sports. Yankees fighting for the number one wild card spot, looking good for them to at least be in. Hopefully host that game. We'll talk more about that on our weekend show this Sunday, our live stream of consciousness show. I want to thank my guest from last week, Ed White. What a great conversation with Ed White. Tremendous reception from the Minnesota Viking and football fans out there. So thank you for tuning in and watching that show. And thank you to Ed White for joining me. Hopefully we'll get some of his teammates. Ed has promised me he will try to get me in contact with some of his ex-teammates as well. Next week, we'll also have on Steve Zabel, former NFL linebacker with the Eagles and my New England Patriots. So be on the watch out for that. And then I'll be on vacation for a couple of weeks after that. I'm trying to line up some interviews to pre-record, like Tommy John's interview today is pre-recorded just for your knowledge as you start to watch it. We'll try to get a couple of new interviews in for those. If not, I'm going to schedule a few of my classics, if you will. If Keith Engel's TGI Sports Talk is allowed to have classic shows, we'll play a couple of those. I'll be away on the, I guess, the 15th and the 22nd of October. I'll be away on vacation. But I'll be doing some of my other shows. I'll be doing some spots live where I can, depending on my how good my connection is to be able to do it. We're not going to do long shows for the college football huddle on Wednesday nights or the Sunday stream of consciousness. But I'd like to check in those days and maybe come on for 15 or 20 minutes and chat about the kind of the news of the day and kibitz with you guys a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, my guest today. In an interview I recorded Wednesday night, Tommy John, and this was done from Watertown, by the way. His wife is from Watertown, so he's only a few hours away from us here in the Capital District, anyway, of New York. That's Watertown, New York, for those of you in other states or countries. Tommy was a long time, 26-year Major League veteran. Obviously had a great career before his arm injury. And you all know the term Tommy John surgery now, if you're a sports fan. And Tommy John was the first person to have this surgery done on him. We'll talk a little bit about that, obviously. Had a great career after that, probably a better career after the surgery than he had before it. Tommy was a 4-time All-Star. He finished in the top 8 in the Cy Young Award voting 4 times. I want to say 4 times. I think that's correct. Finished in the top 20 MVP 2 times. Had a great career. Played with, as I mentioned, the Indians and the White Sox. Then famously was traded for Dick Allen before he got hurt and went to the Dodgers. Had a tremendous run with the Dodgers. Played with the Yankees at a time where things were at some of its most tragic and lots of turmoil going on. We'll talk to Tommy about that stuff as well. Tommy had gone through a bout of COVID and is suffering with some after effects of that. But his attitude, as always, is remarkable. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview. I'll be back to wrap up the show and answer maybe some comments if they do come up during the interview. So and we'll talk a little bit about Sunday show maybe as well. So without further ado, I am going to play the interview with Tommy John. Enjoy. All right. Again, as I said in my intro, my guest today is one of my favorite. Actually, I was going to say favorite Yankees, but he's one of my favorite ball players just because of the way he carried himself on the field. Always looked like he was having fun. Mr. Tommy John. Welcome, Tommy.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Love to have you here. It's funny. My Friday shows have become nostalgia hour, and I love it because there's such a great call for you guys and what you got to say. And the era you played in is an era that I loved, and I'm sure you loved it, having played it, and I'm sure you did as well.
Well, the thing about that era, there was no BS on the field. You played the game, you played it hard, you won, you lost. And, nowadays, guys go out there and they parade around and they do this and that.
Yeah.
And it's just, you go, yeah, gag me with a spoon. In fact, I don't even watch baseball anymore because the game that's being played now is not the game I played.
Yeah,
nowhere close.
Yeah, I still do watch, and it's hard a lot of nights to watch some of the stuff that goes on. I agree with it. Just the way it's bad enough with bat flips and standing at a home plate, and just the way they don't, they play the game. This is where I wanted to start our interview, but since we're on that topic, the way they play the game, I mean, continuing to hit into shifts, and it's home runs, walks, or strikeouts. That's all we get.
Right, right.
It's boring. It's boring, quite frankly. So, anyway, let's talk about a more fun time in baseball, like when Tommy John was playing. When you were growing up in Indiana, what team did you root for, by the way?
Chicago Cubs.
Chicago Cubs?
Yeah.
And would your dream have been to have, and I know there was no draft when you were coming up, but would you like to have been a Chicago Cub? Was that your dream when you're in high school? And
not really. I just wanted to play professional baseball, and I really didn't know how good I was or how good I wasn't. And if it would have been the Cubs, then so be it. It's the Cubs. But I was also a Chicago Bear fan, and we had a Philadelphia Philly farm club in my hometown. So, I kind of followed the Phillies, and my favorite pitcher growing up was a guy named Robin Roberts.
Remember Robin? Was it not Rapid? That was Bob Feller. What was the? Yeah, didn't Robin Roberts have a nickname? I can't remember what it was now.
I don't know, but I tell you this, that my first major league win, I beat the Baltimore Orioles second game of a doubleheader, and I beat Robin Roberts.
Well, that had to be exciting.
Oh my God. Oh God. And I pitched the game. It was a shutout, and I pitched it in an hour and 34 minutes.
Wow.
Robbie didn't take a lot of time between pitches. I didn't take a lot of time in between pitches. And every time I saw him after that, he said, "You son of a gun. You son of a gun. You beat me for your first win, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I thought so. I thought so."
It's funny going back to what we were just talking about a second ago. It takes an hour and a half to play 3 innings in a Yankee game today, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it does. But a lot of that too is the TV,
Oh, true.
They have a lot of that stuff going on that slows games down.
So, Tommy, you ended up, signing with the Indians. Did you have other teams that were after you and had made offers at that time?
A couple. St. Louis, Atlanta Braves. In fact, Ted Turner had just purchased the Braves. But a lot of teams liked me, and they were willing to send me to college, pay for my college, and then they would have the rights to me afterwards. And I told my dad, I said, "I can go to college on a basketball scholarship. Why do I want to go play baseball and then I'm stuck with these guys.
Yeah.
But you know, Cleveland offered me $35,000, and we were in Cleveland, and my dad was my agent. And I told him, I said, "You sold me down the river, you son of a." But the next day, he goes in and he Gabe Paul, Hoot Evers, and my dad and me. And that dog you hear barking, that's Arnold Palmer.
Oh, Arnie Palmer, nice.
And I got a dog back of me here in bed. That's Jack Nicklaus.
Wow.
So I've got Arnie and Jack.
Keep them away from each other. Jeez.
But my dad goes in and he says, "Watch this." And he said, "Mr. Paul, you know, we've been thinking about it. If you give us 5, he didn't even get 1,000 out." And Gabe was up out of his chair, had his hand stuck out, and he said, "Deal." And my dad said, "God, I knew then that I had undersold you." I don't care. I signed for $40,000, more money than I'd ever seen or would see, you know, until I got to the big leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was minor league ball. I went to Dubuque, Iowa.
Yeah.
And our manager was a guy named Pinky Merrill. And Pinky was he was pitching coach, hitting coach, manager. He was everything.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got bumped up to Charleston, West Virginia, and my manager was Johnny Lipon. And Lip was pitching coach, hitting coach, base running coach, manager. I mean, you know, back then,
Yeah.
you had a guy that would come around and watch you. And our roving instructor was a guy named Hal Newhauser.
That name I remember.
Yes. And he liked me. He really liked me. And he just said, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. That was his instruction. Just keep doing what you're doing.
I seem to remember reading a story or hearing an interview with you a while back where you talk about the first pro game you watched after you signed and watching the pitcher. You didn't pitch that night. You watched somebody else pitch. And I believe you had some good advice from your dad. Do you remember that story?
No.
You had watched this kid go out and he had great stuff and you thought better than you and the team just smoked him and you're like, how am I going to go out and compete on this level?
Well, my dad just told me, go out there. You've gotten a lot of hitters out that were better hitters than you were a pitcher. Just go out there and do what you've done your whole life. Throw the ball over the plate, pitch quickly, get batters out.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not bad advice, truthfully.
Yeah, well, it worked out pretty good for Tommy John for 26 years, right? So
that's right, yeah.
So you mentioned a couple of names so far, and your dad obviously with that type of advice. I mean, who were the big influences on you that early in your career with the Indians, or maybe when you got to the White Sox?
Well, Cleveland, when I got to the big leagues, the pitching coach was a guy named Early Wynn.
Another great pitcher.
Oh, he sucked.
Well, maybe then.
Well, he was a good pitcher. Yeah, I'll give you that. He was a terrible pitching coach.
Oh, okay.
He offered nothing.
Yeah.
So I get traded to the White Sox, and the guy that helped me was Al Lopez, and their pitching coach was a catcher by the name of Ray Barris. And Ray was big on getting the ball out of your glove early, getting your arm up, and throw. And that's all that I tried to do was do what, you know, and he said, if you do that, your motion will be fine. You'll be able to pitch a long time. And he was right. I did.
You had it's interesting. While we're still on the White Sox years, you had another pitching coach there that was a pretty good pitcher, but I got the impression that you may not have been impressed with him as a pitching coach either. And Johnny Sane, what was the deal between you and Johnny?
Well, Johnny wanted to teach everybody the curveball, the short curveball, the slider, or whatever. He just called it the short curveball. But I don't know. I like pitchers or coaches that says, okay, here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And Johnny would be there all the time. Oh, no, get on top of the ball, pull down on it. Come on. I threw 2 pitches when I signed. In 1961, I threw a fastball, I threw a curveball. When I retired in 1989, I threw a fastball and I threw a curveball. I never learned that third pitch.
Well, it's funny. You threw different pitches. What was it? This fastball you just took threw it at different speeds and took something off. And
yes, yeah, that's all.
Yeah,
one boom here, a little off down there, and my ball. I threw a sinking fastball.
right.
And if you throw a sinking fastball hard, it doesn't have time to sink. So you got to hit that right speed where the ball gets maximum movement.
So you were one of those guys who you'd pitch better when your arm was a little tired?
Was a little tired. Yep.
Yeah.
I pitched better in innings 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Than I did 1, 2, 3.
Well, so you were a pretty good pitcher in the American League with the White Sox before you got traded to the Dodgers. You got traded for Dick Allen, so you had to have some talent to get traded for Dick Allen, I'm assuming. But you get to the Dodgers and your career kind of hits another level. Was it playing in the National League? Was it playing in Dodger Stadium? Was it Red Adams, pitching coach? Was it Walter also? What changed for Tommy John at that point?
I can tell you this: it was not Walter Alston.
Okay.
Red Adams, yes. The 2 best pitching coaches I ever had were Ray Berries and Red Adams. No, it was better ball players, better team. They caught the ball, they hit the ball, they scored runs, and we had some good ball players with the Dodgers. Very good ball players.
Did you see a big difference between the leagues at that time when you changed leagues?
Not really. No. I'm sure that if I analyzed it more, and really looked at it, that I could probably have seen some things. But I got the ball, got on the mound, threw it. Got the ball, got on the mound, threw it. And, that's what it was.
Yeah, you mentioned Walter Alston didn't have a big impact on you. What was your relationship with him? He'd been with the Dodgers for like a gazillion years at that point.
Well, sports writer in spring training. I'm over there. I'm getting ready to pitch my first time. And he comes down and Walt's sitting there and I'm sitting down the bench from Walt. And he said, well, Skipper, this is spring number, whatever it is. What do you think of this guy over here? Pretty good, isn't he? And Walt says, I don't know. We'll see. I sat there and I go, son of a gun. Here's a guy that wants me to battle my butt off for him. And he said, I don't know. We'll see. But the best manager I had back in that era, Al Lopez, was very good.
Interesting.
Very, very good. But after him was a guy with the White Sox named Eddie Stanky. I loved him. Absolutely loved him. He knew squat about pitching.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved him because he had that fire and he had that let's go, let's go, let's go. And maybe it was me being a little tender. He was like a high school coach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Didn't Eddie Stanky, after he retired, didn't he come back like 20 years later with the Rangers for one game?
One game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked him what happened. He said, I got out there on the mound to take the pitcher out, and Mike Marshall was the pitcher. And Marshall looked at him and he said, what the F are you doing out here? And Eddie said, you're right. What am I doing out here? Turn around and walk back. And after the game, he quit. He said, no, he said, I don't need this.
I remember that story very, very well, obviously. Well, let's move on to I guess we're obligated to talk about 1974, and you're rolling along with one of your best years, I would say, probably at that point, right? And
yeah, I was 13-3.
Yeah.
And I was pitching pretty good baseball all the time. And I threw that one pitch, boom. Oh, man, I had pain in my elbow that I had never had before. I threw one more pitch, the same pain. I called, whoa, that's it. I walk off the mound and I tell Walt Alston, I said, Walter, I've hurt my arm. Get somebody else in. And I go into the bench and I see Bill Bueller, our trainer. And I said, Billy, tell Dr. Jobe to get down there. He said, I've already signaled for him. And when I got to the clubhouse, I changed shirts and went into the trainer's room. And here was sports writers, sportscasters, TV cameras, all this stuff going on, and players, and and I'm soaking my arm in ice water. And Dr. Jobe says, why don't you come and see me tomorrow? And that'll give you a chance to calm down. So I said, okay. And the next day I went out to see him, and I said, why'd you do that last night? He said, there were too many people in there. He said, I didn't want to do what I had to do, and then they conclude that I'm doing it for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I think you've torn a ligament in your elbow. Now, there were no MRIs back then.
Sure.
The only way they could tell was for me to hold my arm out straight. And Dr. Jobe gets my left bicep, holds that, and then takes his arm and moves the bottom of my arm back and forth laterally. He said, that shouldn't do what it's doing there.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, it's hurting like crazy. So I said, I want you to go see this hand surgeon, a guy named Herb Stark. And Herb was from Tennessee. And I go in to see him, and he examines me, and he said, boy, you sure done it. He said, you sure done it. You tore that ligament. And I said, so what do I do? He said, damned if I know. And I said, you think I'll pitch again? Probably not. Okay. So I go back to see Dr. Jobe, and I said, did Dr. Stark tell you? He said, yeah, he called me. And I said, well, what do you think? He says, well, let's just let it rest and let's see what we can do. And then we can go from there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we let it rest for 3 weeks. I go back out and I start throwing the ball, and God, did it hurt. And I said, there's no. And Dr. Jobe says, well, the only other thing that I have is I can do a ligament replacement. And I said, well, how many of those have been done on pitcher? He said, none. And I said, well, do you know how to do it? And he said, yeah, I've done them on polio patients on their knees and ankles, but I've never done it on a pitcher's elbow. Okay. I said, what's the prognosis? He said, you probably won't pitch again. And I said, but if I don't have it done, I definitely won't pitch again. He said, yes. I said, okay, probably is better than definitely. And let's have it done. So we got together and came up with a date of September 25th. I was in the hospital. He did the surgery, got it. It took like 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Now that they do those surgeries in about an hour, 45 minutes, boom. And, but it was first time. They didn't know what was going to happen. So I'm in there and I'm in this cast. In fact, I've got the cast with me now someplace, and it's got the 74 Dodger team sign the cast for me. And it also has Danny Murtaugh's autograph on it. But, if I get into the Hall of Fame, I will give that cast to the Hall of Fame. If I don't, it's staying with me.
Well, you should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way, in my mind, just so you know. I'm sure I'm not the first to tell you that. And I'm going to take up, I'll tell you this, not that I can do a lot of pull. I'm not Joe Rogan, I don't have 6 billion followers, but I'll do my part to start a grassroots campaign for you, Tommy, I promise.
Well, there's a guy named Ted Doyle that's got a Tommy John Cooperstown going.
Yeah, I belong there. Yeah.
Said, Ted, that's fine. You can get 1.5 million people in that thing. They don't vote.
I know.
I said, there's 14 guys that vote. You got to get them and not some guy in Hoboken, New Jersey. And he says, well, but you get your name around, and all this. And I said, okay, all right. Okay, I see what you're doing. But still, it's nice and it's pleasant and I appreciate it, but it's not going to help.
Does it bother you that you're not there, Tommy?
No. My dad taught me this. Don't worry about things you have no control over. And I have no control over this, so I don't worry about it. Now, if getting into the Hall of Fame, if some guru said, Tommy, we can get you into the Hall of Fame and your handicap is going to go down to 0, I'd be working my butt off to get in.
That's a good way to look at it, I guess. That's awesome. What's your handicap now?
Oh, I don't know, 110 or something. I don't know. I haven't played since I've had the Guillain-Barré.
Yeah.
Hard time standing upright. I fall over. I don't have balance. And so I used to be a 4 or 5. Now I'm probably 16, 18, stroke.
That sounds like me. I'm about the same way because I don't play anymore either. It's like twice a year.
My wife, Cheryl, and I, all I want to do is get back to play golf where she and I can play. We go out and play. We have a good time. We have this, and we just, it's what we like to do, and it's what we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And, we do it.
Well, Tommy was telling me, for our viewers who see this Friday and anytime after that, Tommy had battled COVID back was it back in the first part of the year, Tommy?
December 9th.
December 9th of last year, and developed with Guillain-Barré, and I know all of my followers will be wishing you well to get yourself back on your feet and out there on the golf course. So, back to baseball. So, you come back and I mean, I guess we could say you were better than ever. I mean, after a year of rehab, you didn't play at all in 1975.
Right.
You come back and you don't have a great year in 76, but after what you've been through, it's a tremendous year. Today, you'd be getting paid, $20 million a year. For that year.
Well, I was 10-10, I think.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. But you still pitched pretty well.
And then you for an old man.
And then you had 20 games for a Dodger team that goes to the World Series for the first time for consecutive years against the Yankees. What was it like those seasons as you came back from the injury and got to go to the World Series finally in this 74 with the injury?
Well, I think the big thing is that we had a guy named Tommy Lasorda as our manager.
Yeah.
Lasorda was outstanding. I just dropped my phone. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Tommy was great. He was. I said I'd go through hell in a gasoline suit for him. But he just made it fun. He made it so that you had fun going out playing, winning, and
is that Ernie again? Or?
That was Jack Nicklaus there.
Oh, that was Nicklaus this time.
I'll show you the little nut.
Arnie was always louder than Jack.
That's Jack right there.
How you doing, Jack? What's his handicap?
He's a +6.
I lost your picture altogether there, Tommy.
No, wait a minute. Carol, come here.
Tommy's getting his technical advisor as we speak.
Oh,
You got it?
hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
We lost Tommy's picture.
Is he there now?
No.
I still got a black picture.
Let's see here.
I hear you guys, but I don't see it.
Let's see. That's it. What does that say, honey?
What does what say?
Right there.
Sign in with Facebook.
No.
Yeah, you're already in, so I don't think it's that. I think it's your camera might have turned off. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Camera.
For those watching, this is the weekly travails of the
There.
TJ
Is that it?
video.
No, I've got it. You got to get it turned around.
Is that good?
Whoa, how about that?
Well, we still got a black picture. I'm not sure why, but we can
Okay.
hear you, so we can
a
continue
minute.
that way if you want.
Let me go back into the email.
Yeah, if you do, just make sure you probably want to go out and come back in if you do that, Cheryl, just so you're
Okay.
not in there.
'cause I'm not seeing, let's see. Let me see your glasses, Tom. What would it, I don't know what he did. Oh, maybe this is it.
I think it was the dog's fault, actually.
It was. I showed him Jack Nicklaus,
Damn
and
it.
then it went blank.
Jesus.
All right, let me go back out and come back in.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. Okay.
Okay. So while we wait,
Wait a minute.
my
Wait a minute.
guest,
Hold on. Let's see. There.
Whoa.
There you are.
Okay, hold on.
I got people all over the place here. Hello, is that Cheryl?
Yes, hi there.
Cheryl, how are you? That's Cheryl is Tommy's wife, Cheryl.
Wife.
And
I just got out of the hot tub, so my hair is soaking wet.
well, that's all right.
He's
Wait a
just- All right, here he is. Hold on. It's nice talking to you.
You too.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Where's my glasses? Don't touch the screen.
I will tell you, Tommy, I don't get usually to meet the whole family during these interviews, so this has been a fun time, actually. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh gosh, this is fun. This reminds me, and I'll take a little sidebar here. It reminds me of watching Tommy John pitch. You look like you were just having fun, no matter what you're doing. You look like you're having fun out there all the
Well,
time.
I was having fun here with her.
So, oh gosh, where was I? So tell me the later years with the Dodgers, right? You guys get to the World Series against the Yankees twice.
Right.
I got to ask you, as a Yankees fan, were they a better team than you, or just those 7 games?
They were probably, as a whole, a better team. As a whole.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting being a Yankee fan in those days, and as you found out later on, I'm sure. because it was
Well,
all
then I was with the Yankees in '81 pitching against the Dodgers.
I remember.
We got,
Yeah.
and then that's when I got pinch hit for in the 4th inning. And
Bob Lemon, right?
when does the starting pitcher get pinch hit for in a 1-1 game in the bottom of the 4th inning in the World Series?
Never.
That's right. Tommy did.
I remember that game today, and I was yelling at the TV. And I'll be honest with you, I liked Bob Lemon a lot in '78 because I think he was a calming influence for the Yankees after all the craziness with Billy and Reggie.
Yeah.
But I think by that time, the game had kind of got past Bob a little bit. You'd know better than I would, obviously.
Well, what happened? And this is Steinbrenner. George was a football man.
Yeah.
Or at least he thought he was.
Right.
He would have meetings with his manager and coaches and scouts before every game. This is how we're going to do it. Well, baseball, there's no, this is how we're going to do it. You do it with how the game is going. If you're scoring all kinds of runs, you can do a lot of crazy stuff. If you're not scoring runs, you got to play it close to your vest.
Sure.
Well, Steinbrenner, I found this out later on. Steinbrenner told Lemon, those guys, get a lead early and then go to your bullpen. Win it out of your bullpen. So Lemon, being the good manager and dutiful employee that he was, he tried to get a lead early and then go to his bullpen, and it ended up costing the Yankees the game and the World Series.
Well, that's why George Frazier lost 3 games in that World Series and set a record, I think. Didn't he?
Yeah, exactly right. He lost 3 games. Yep.
Sure, he's a very nice guy, but I can't lose the World Series with him losing 3 games, can I?
Well, if you had it the way Steinbrenner wanted you to, yeah, you could, because George wanted you to win or lose the game out of the bullpen.
Yeah. Craziness. So and we jumped ahead a little bit to 81, but when you came to the Yankees from the Dodgers in 79, I mean, you had a great year in 79. I think you were second in Cy Young Award voting, maybe, right? Does that sound right? Or was that that was 77? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But still, you had a great year in 79, winning 21 games. For Tommy John, a great year. What was it like coming to New York from LA, and you're in a season that was really kind of a tragic season, obviously, for the Yankees with Thurman.
Yeah.
And the team wasn't really competitive.
Yeah. The Dodgers were a fun group of guys to play with. The O'Malleys were great ownership.
Yeah.
Great ownership. Then you get to the Yankees, and you've got Steinbrenner is a good owner, but he didn't have a clue on how to run a baseball team.
Yeah, you said he thought he was a football guy. I think he drove by the Purdue football field one time and thought he was a football guy, actually. But.
Well, in fact, our president of our club was a guy named what the hell was the old college coach? Football.
Lou Saban. Wasn't it Lou Saban?
Lou Saban.
Yeah.
Yes. Lou Saban.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's George.
That's brilliant. Brilliant. How did they ever get Tommy John to New York is what I want to know.
Offered me more money than anybody.
There's an honest answer.
What? Hey.
Did you enjoy you came back, so did you actually enjoy your time in New York?
Loved it.
Even with that craziness?
Yes, I loved it. Even with Steinbrenner, I loved everything that we did. I loved all the stuff that we didn't do. Excuse me. George was okay, but New York was absolutely phenomenal. The fans were great. I remember my first game. We're playing the Milwaukee Brewers. Good Friday, Guidry pitches, loses. Next day, Figueroa pitches, loses. I'm pitching game 3, Easter Sunday. So I get to the ballpark and I enter the clubhouse and I walk by the manager's office, and who walks out but Steinbrenner. And George grabs me and he said, "This is why I got you. This is the most important game of your life."
Game 3 of the 60.
I said, "George, this is the 3rd game of the season. If I lose and then we win all the rest, we go 159-3.
Some kind of record.
So I start the game out. Paul Molitor, first up. Ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4. Now the fans are booing like crazy. Robin Yount, next up. First pitch, ball 1. Now they're booing even louder. And
You lost your train of thought.
no, my wife just gave me a note. She said, "I love you. Bye, sweetie."
She's
And,
talking to you, right? Right. That
so
was
I
a
get out,
message.
they're booing, and my pitching coach was a guy named Tom Morgan. And Morgan comes out and he goes, "Jesus Christ, John, you've never thrown 5 balls like that in your life." He said, "Look at that silly SOB. Look at him up there. He's got his hand on the phone. He picks that up. I'm gone. Lemon's gone. And you're gone." And I said, "Oh, Morg, I don't know what to tell you." I said, I don't know. He said, "Well, I'll tell you, you better get this SOB out." All right. So I end up giving up. I think I gave up a run. And they take me out of the ball game in the 7th inning. I've got like a 4-1 lead. They bring Gossage in. Gossage goes 7, 8, 9. Game's over. Yankees win. Tommy John's the hero. And I go off and reel off like 8 wins. I'm like 8-0. And, it was, then things started to straighten out, and I started to pitch like I normally do.
Pitching like you normally do is pretty good. That 4-year stretch, I talked about Cy Young voting. I mean, you were in the top 8 4 years in a row. That's not there.
No, it's not. I was 21 and whatever. Then I won 22 games.
Yeah.
And then the strike year, 81. I forget what my record was there.
9-8.
Was it 9-8?
But you only had 20 starts, so
yeah. But I pitch like Bernie Sanders looks. Ugly. I just said that because I saw him on TV.
Yeah, well, now I'll have that picture in my head all night long. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Tell me about, again, when you were in the Dodgers, and I guess even early in your career, the managerial situations in the teams you're on were not nearly as volatile as they were with the Yankees, obviously. What was it like with that revolving door? And I got to know, I mean, what are your thoughts on Billy Martin, for instance? I mean, you played for Billy at least once, probably twice.
I think 3 times.
3 times? Okay.
Yeah. Billy didn't like me as a pitcher. Now, when your manager doesn't like you as a pitcher, and you got to go out there and bust your hump for him, it's a little tough to do.
Yeah,
it's a little tough to do. And in fact, I'm going to tell you, Billy Martin, we're playing the Angels out in California, and I'm on the bench, and I'm looking around, and I got to go get some candy or something. So I go up to the clubhouse. And as I passed the manager's office, I hear this things being moved and this girl going, oh, 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 oh.
I see myself getting kicked off of Facebook here again.
It was Billy's girlfriend. He eventually married her, so I
Oh,
guess
I guess it was all right
yeah. But he's up there during the ball game,
during the
having
game.
sex with a photographer who was out on the field earlier. But that was Billy. Billy marched to his own drummer.
Yeah. Of your Yankee managers, who was your favorite there? I mean, you had a bunch of them to choose from.
The best was Dick Hauser.
Oh, Dick! Yeah, I had to get. That's right, Dick. I mean, he got screwed worse by George than any of the managers.
80.
Yeah.
No, Dick was very good. See, Dick and I were teammates at Cleveland in 1963-64. He was my shortstop when I, and he liked me. And if something was going to happen, he pulled me aside and told me, he said, hey, we're going to do this, or this. And so I'm just, watch yourself. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Good baseball,
He
man.
let me know. Yeah, he would let me know.
Good baseball, man. And in my mind, the worst thing George ever did was fire Dick Hauser.
Well, actually, Dick quit.
Well, that's true.
And he quit because George fired the third base coach,
Mike Ferraro.
Mike Ferraro.
Yeah.
Because Ferraro let the runner.
Oh, yeah.
And they overthrew the cutoff man, and they hit George Brett. George turned and threw home and got the runner going out. It was a messed up play.
Yeah.
But Ferraro took and George was ranting and wait. And Dick says, whoa. That's my third base coach. If you're going to fire him, you might as well fire me. George says, okay, done deal. You're gone.
Best thing that ever happened for Dick Hauser probably was getting out of there. So as a Yankee fan, I hate to say that.
And they won a couple of World Series. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What about when you get traded? I know we're going to run out of time here soon, but what about when you get traded to California? You get another shot at the World Series. When you get traded in '82, you're playing in the championship series against the Brewers. That was that Angels team was loaded with talent too. You talked about the Dodgers earlier on.
We were very good. We just didn't have a bullpen.
Yeah.
But we were very, very good. And, as things happened, we didn't play well in the playoffs and lost.
Any regrets, Tommy? I mean, you got to I guess maybe 4 World Series. Maybe it would have been 5 if 74 if you had not been injured.
It would have been 5, 74, and I don't know.
Same thing as your other analogy. I mean, you don't have that much control. You have a little control when you're on the field.
Well, you do the best you can do.
Yeah.
For as long as you can do it, and then you let the chips fall.
Yeah. You played on some great teams. You were a great pitcher. Listen, if you do, let's just say our grassroots campaign gets you into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What hat are you going to put on?
I don't have the choice. The Hall of Fame.
Oh, they do. That's right, too. They took it away from the players, didn't they?
Yeah, because Reggie Jackson and Dave Winfield sold the hat rights to their various teams. And the Hall of Fame says, you're not doing that to us.
Thanks, Reggie. You really needed the money, right? Jesus. Gosh.
Hey, he's a businessman.
Who do you think they'll give you then?
Either Dodgers or Yankees.
Yeah.
Probably Yankees.
You think it'll be the Yankees?
Yeah, probably.
I kind of thought the Dodgers just because of, the whole, Tommy John
Could be. I don't know. I have no control over it. Or maybe they'll give me a hat with nothing.
They've done that before. Catfish went in with nothing, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He did, yeah. Yeah. So maybe. Listen, did you think when you had this surgery that we'd be talking about it here, 40 years later?
Oh no.
And it'd
Good
be
God.
celebrating the anniversary. There was a big on social media. It was all over the place a week ago Saturday. The anniversary. It
We
was Saturday. I guess it was last Saturday, right?
what's that?
The anniversary of the surgery. I think it was last
Yeah,
Saturday.
the 25th. And
Yeah.
my daughter Tamara was born on the 27th. So whenever they say, here it is, she's the same age as my surgery.
Is there a guy who really gave you trouble when you were? You'll probably tell me a bunch of guys. You pitched 26 years. There had to be a few guys that had your numbers. So who's the guy that comes out?
The guy that I had a hard time getting out was Ken Griffey Sr. I could not get a curveball over to him. If I could ever have gotten a curveball over to him, he would have been toast.
Yeah.
But I could get Junior out. Junior was a piece of cake, but he was only 11 at the time.
I always ask the hitters who weren't really big superstars. Like I've had like Greg Pryor on the show. He's a great guy. You may know Greg. I think he played during your time. So he's a character. And so I'll say, who's the Hall of Famer that you just owned? And I think he told me Jim Palmer. I can't remember now. But was there a guy that was not a name like Ken Griffey Sr. that you're like, how come I can't get this guy out? He can't hit anybody else. Anybody that comes to mind?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the catcher. Oh God, I can't think of him. He was like Ned Yost.
Oh, Ned Yost. Good grief.
He was like
respect, Ned.
15 off of me.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't recall him ever getting a base hit off of me.
That's interesting.
Pete Rose had me in the 3 toughest pitchers that he ever had to face.
I can imagine that there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys you'd rather go out and face Nolan Ryan than facing that 100-mile-an-hour fastball rather than Tommy John and just ground out to third base 4 times a game.
Like it's on a tee, and you go to hit it, and you hit it, but you hit the top half of the ball into the ground. But that's how I pitched. That's how I pitched.
I got to tell you, both when you were a Yankee, Tommy, and even before, I remember a game when you were with the Dodgers. And it could have been your first year back from the surgery. I'm not sure. It was like the last game of the season, and you were just rolling through a game, and you're just out there having fun. You could see the smile on your face, and it was just like you could tell that you enjoyed being out there playing the game, and that's fun for me.
I mean, it's the game you played as a kid.
Right.
And they're paying you good money to play the game. So why not enjoy it?
Gosh. Well, I want to thank you for all the memories you gave me and a lot of people that'll watch this and thank you for that. And we do hope you get to the Hall of Fame, and we hope you get better. Keep doing what the doctors have you doing so you can get back on that golf course.
You got that right. Cheryl and I will be out there in Florida this spring, teeing it up, winning the husband and wife.
Awesome. I got to tell you, you got a great attitude too. I know you've been through a lot in your life, and now you're going through this. So I think your attitude is wonderful and contagious. So
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And thanks for being on with me, Tommy, very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Guys, the wonderful Tommy John. And it's funny. It's almost like a comedy routine with Tommy a lot of times, the phone dropping and losing the picture. Oh my gosh. A lot of fun though, I have to say. God, I enjoyed that interview, and we could have gone on for a while. I think Tommy's got tons of stories. I mean, I could have got to a bunch of other stuff, and it's hard sometimes. And you could tell, Tommy's laboring a little bit with the gosh, I don't remember what they call it. I think it's Giambara syndrome. I'm probably saying it wrong. My wife told me how to say it, and I already forgot. After battling COVID last winter. So we hope Tommy gets well soon, gets back out on the golf course. I had a lot of fun with Tommy. Was such a great pitcher, and some of the things I was saying there, gosh, unbelievable the way. I mean, I watched him. I swear to God, that Dodger game I watched, and it was the last game of the season. It was on national TV, and you could just see him. He was out there having a chuckle and just having so much fun. And Tommy brought, I think, a great attitude to New York. He came to New York under very trying circumstances in that 1979 season, as I mentioned, with Thurman's passing and injuries and Billy and coming back. And gosh, what a crazy season 79 was. 78 was crazy before he got there, but 79 was just as crazy and in different ways and tragic ways. But Tommy had a really great career with the Yankees. And I was sad to see him go to California. And I really was rooting for him and the Angels in that 82 playoff game series against the Brewers. And I would like to have seen Tommy get to a World Series and actually win it. Well, Tommy got to a bunch of World Series and unfortunately never came out on the winning side. And that story with Bob Lemon, I still remember it to this day. How do you take your best pitcher out the fourth inning? And it reminds me of the way the game's played today, the way Tommy was describing how George kind of had the game scripted without any feel for the game at all or how the game is progressing. Baseball's a game of feel, and it's a game of ebb and flows, and you've got to have your finger on the pulse of that game, each individual game. And it's funny to hear Tommy describe that. It reminds me of how a lot of the games are played today. Doesn't matter that a pitcher just came into the game and struck out the side in the sixth inning or seventh inning. Well, his job is done. He did it on 9 pitches. Well, we got to bring in our eighth inning guy. Not to wit. You know what? Baseball is a game of trusting your gut, having a pulse of your finger on the pulse of how the game is going at that point in time. And Tommy alluded to that. And it's a shame that a great player like Tommy John doesn't watch the game today. I wanted to get with Tommy about coaching, and I didn't get a chance to chat about it, whether he had some aspirations to be a pitching coach or a manager for that matter. I know that he did some of that after his playing career. We didn't get a chance to chat about it. He coached he managed an independent team, I think, on Long Island. Let's see if I have that information in front of me here. Let's see. Where did Tommy come? I saw, my God, Tommy John's Wikipedia page is like huge. The Bridgeport Bluefish. Sorry, it was not here in New York. It was in Bridgeport. But still, that Atlantic League, they had a team on Long Island that Sparky Lyle might still be affiliated with. Anyway, what a great guy. Great baseball man. Great pitcher. Belongs in the Hall of Fame, guys. Belongs in the Hall of Fame. Tommy John. He's right. The problem is, and I'll be sharing this to the Tommy John for Cooperstown page. We don't have any say. What we say doesn't have any pull with the people that actually have a vote, and it's a shame. I was happy to see Ted Simmons get in and on the I don't know what they call it now, the old timers committee, whatever it might be called. But Thurman I think Thurman should be in the Hall of Fame. It's not his fault. He died in a plane crash and his career was cut short. Sandy Koufax is in there for a very short period of time. Sandy Koufax, as great as he was, Tommy John won, more games after his surgery than Sandy Koufax won his whole career. Now, longevity has a lot to do with that. I understand. Sandy Koufax is a better pitcher than Tommy John. I understand. But I think Tommy John belongs in the Hall of Fame. Just my opinion. Guys, Sunday, we'll have our Stream of Consciousness show. We'll be talking about the playoff picture with Mark Mancini and maybe a special guest. We'll talk NFL football. We'll talk the big games from the college scene from Saturday and tonight. And we'll also have Steve Zabel on next Friday as our guest, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do for a vacation. Steve Zabel, by the way, linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. When I was just becoming a huge Patriot fan in the early 70s. Look forward to talking to you then. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk. I've had a great Friday morning. Hope you have. Enjoy your weekend. See you Sunday.